What made me want to try? Well, first was the example of the teachers and the example of the older students that I met. There was something in their eyes, there was something in their way of being that was really magnetizing for myself. It was interesting to see them, how they would do things, how they would speak, how they would interact with others. That was special and that I would admire, yeah, that I would look up to, and that somehow I wanted to become in a certain way like this. So that was the first thing, to hear the teachings and to hear it from people who have had the experience of what they are teaching. And this was really something that was touching my heart very much, to see that it's not just something you read in the book, but there's actually people who are living by these principles, and they are alive now, and they are speaking to me in that retreat. Yeah. And this was very special to experience. There's something about to witness men who are a few steps ahead of you on a specific path, and to see what they're doing and to be inspired by what they are teaching, but also by what they are, what principles they are living by. And as a number one on the Enneagram, the principles are very dear to my soul. And this principle of continence was really striking to see it embodied in people around me. Yeah? And there are many people in the school who are continent. I remember this when I first learned about this, I was like, well, there's probably 3 people in the world who are able to do this. But then once I started to speak about it with other people, many people are able to do that. And it's not something that is extremely difficult. Yeah, it's something that is quite accessible to a human being who has these kind of aspirations to walk the spiritual path as a tantric practitioner. So what made me want to try first is the example of guys around me who were actually doing that, and it was really inspiring. The second thing that really helped me to engage on this path of continence was the benefits that were described. Yeah, there's a ton and ton of benefits in practicing amorous continence, starting from basic health benefits. Yeah, you are much more healthy, much more balanced in your body. Yeah, your body is much more harmonious when you keep this energy. And for me, my body was not very harmonious initially, and still now it's work in progress. But I can definitely see the benefit of being continent in lovemaking in the way that it has beneficial effects on the physical body. So this is just in regards to the physical reality, but also there's a ton of benefits about being continent on the psychomental level. Yeah, and it's described that you are much more able to focus, much more able to meditate, much more able to love, much more able to connect with others, much more open to life, much more open to live out your purpose. And it's actually possible, if you keep this creative energy, to live out your purpose. And all of these elements, they were described to us in the Tantra immersion here in Mahasiddha Yoga, but also in different books that I read from other traditions, from David Data, for example, or Osho, or any other spiritual path that are talking about continence. There's a ton of benefits. There is something for everybody. Whoever you are, you can find something that continence will help you with at any level. So that was also very, very important. Third point, I was very curious. Like I said in the previous video, there was a hope in my heart. And I was very curious to see if that was just a blind hope, that I was like, well, okay, this people talk about these things and maybe it happens or not. But I was filled with curiosity, because it was a new way of living. It was a new way of experiencing life, experiencing love, experiencing relationships. And there was a strong curiosity in my soul for that. This really helped me to keep going, because you will see, if you're a man and you want to walk this path, or at least to try, you need to have a certain aspiration, a certain curiosity to pass different difficulties, because we will speak in a future video about challenges that comes on the path of continence, and there are a few, many challenges, but they are forging your character, and they are helping you to overcome yourself. There's a meaning to all of them. And the curiosity of how it might be if I don't have this limit in my consciousness was really helpful, especially for me in the beginning, where it was very difficult to even engage in amorous erotic fusion, because I was very excited, and it was like, well, there's a lot of energy, and what do I do with that? And the curiosity to see, well, what would it be if I keep that energy in, that was very helpful to help me move a bit further on this path. Fourth point that helped me to try, or that convinced me to try, was actually, it's not, I bent a bit the question here, because it's actually, once I tried, I kept the energies, I didn't ejaculate, for example, for 10 days, and I would feel myself, how different I would feel. 10 days without ejaculation, and not just not doing anything, but practicing and meditating and doing a lot of hatha yoga and using this energy in a beneficial way. I could see myself already very much transformed, just in the way that I would think, in the way that I would speak with people, in the way that I would interact intimately. It's a game changer. It shifts many things in a beneficial way in the consciousness of the man. I can speak only for men. This is something that I would recommend if you have doubts, if you're not so sure that it has the benefits that are described in the scriptures, or that are described in any books that you read on that. Try it, and you will see. And try it just for 2 weeks, for example. And there are these NOFAP challenges. There's this movement where people stop masturbating. Try this. Don't masturbate for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and see the difference in your life. And it's really, for me, it was mind-blowing how much energy, how much capacities I would lose with one ejaculation at a time. It was fascinating. And I only realized it when I stopped. When I stopped masturbating, when I stopped ejaculating, when I actually contained that energy. If you do the NoFap challenge, but you don't do anything with the energies, if you don't do Hatha Yoga, for example, to lift the energies up that we learn in our weekly classes and in our retreats, then of course you might experience some difficulties, some wet dreams, for example, or you might experience some heaviness in the genital area and so on. But if you integrate this attitude of no masturbation, no FAP, within the context of having a certain spiritual practice, even only meditation practice, then you will see that your meditation will become much more deep, much higher, and much more expanded, whatever kind of meditation you are doing, because then your creative energy will be used in this purposeful direction. So this was really impactful for me, to have the direct experience of the effects that are described in the books or in the classes, to experience them directly within me. This is very much a tantric perspective, or a tantric attitude, because the path of tantra is a path of direct experience. Yeah, you're in direct contact with life, and you learn through experiencing it yourself within. Guys, have you ever tried not to ejaculate? I'm very curious. How was your experience? Please share it in the comments below.